Do you ever feel like you're interested in everything but a master of nothing? Your curiosity pulls you towards art, science, business, and philosophy all at the same time. Meanwhile, the world keeps telling you to pick a lane, to specialize, to dig one deep well instead of a dozen shallow ones. You look at your friends who are becoming expert coders, lawyers, or doctors, and you can't help but feel you're falling behind. Their paths look like straight lines, while yours feels like a tangled map. This pressure to conform to a specialist's world can be incredibly isolating. It can make you question the very nature of your mind and your passions. But there's a name for people like us, a powerful and historic identity. It's the identity of the polymath. What if being interested in everything isn't your greatest weakness, but a hidden superpower? What if your seemingly random interests are actually the ingredients for world-class innovation and creativity? And what if there was a system to actually unlock it? This isn't about being a dabbler or a dilettante. It's about becoming a master of connection, a synthesizer of ideas in a world that desperately needs them. Stay with me because I'm going to show you how. If any of that resonated with you, I want to say something very clearly. You are not unfocused. You are just misunderstood. That feeling of being pulled in a million directions isn't a character flaw. You're not scattered. You're a scout, mapping new territory before anyone else sees the path. For years, I felt the same way, struggling to explain how my background in coding could possibly relate to my passion for psychology or my interest in ancient history. It felt like a liability until I discovered the power of being a polymath isn't in the individual skills, but in the connections between them. And in this video, I'm going to give you the exact system I developed to do just that. First, we're going to throw out the old, outdated models of skill and introduce a new one I call the skills stack. This will completely change how you visualize your career and your potential. Then I'll give you a practical, step-by-step framework called the Connect method to find the hidden gold between your passions. But to make this truly powerful, we will also tackle the two biggest fears every polymath has. First is the fear of mediocrity, the worry that you'll become a jack of all trades, master of none. And second is the fear that it's all just luck, that stories of polymath success are just survivorship bias in disguise. We are going to dismantle both of those fears with clear, logical strategies. By the end of this video, you won't just feel validated in your scattered interests. You will have a complete roadmap to turn them into your single greatest competitive advantage. To understand the power of the polymath, we first need to change the way we see skills. For decades, we've been taught to think in terms of the I-shaped professional. This is the deep specialist, someone who has spent their entire career drilling down into a single domain. Think of a tax accountant who knows every nuance of the tax code, but little else. Their skill profile looks like a capital I, very deep but also very narrow. In a stable, predictable world, this was a fantastic strategy for success. But as the world became more complex and interconnected, a new model emerged, the T-shaped professional. This person has one area of deep expertise, the vertical bar of the T. But they also have a broad, horizontal bar of knowledge across many other domains. This allows them to collaborate effectively with experts from different fields. A designer who understands the basics of coding and marketing can create much more effective products. The T-shape was a huge step forward, and it's still valuable today. But in our rapidly changing world where AI can automate single specialisms, even being T-shaped is no longer enough to truly future-proof your career. We need something more dynamic, more resilient. This is where we introduce a new model, one I call the comb-shaped professional. Imagine a comb. It doesn't have just one tooth, it has many. Each tooth represents a deep area of skill you've cultivated, going well beyond a beginner's level. Instead of one eye, you have 2, 3, or even 4 of them. But what holds these teeth together is the spine of the comb. This spine represents a set of core cross-functional competencies like rapid learning, effective communication, first principles thinking, and creativity. This combination of multiple deep skills connected by a robust set of core abilities is what I call the skill stack. You're not just T-shaped, you're comb-shaped with the teeth of a master and the spine of a connector. Think of Leonardo da Vinci, the classic polymath. He had deep teeth of expertise in painting, human anatomy, and engineering. But the spine connecting them all was his relentless curiosity and his incredible skill of observation. His knowledge of anatomy made his paintings more lifelike, and his understanding of engineering informed his art. Or consider Steve Jobs, who wasn't the best engineer or the best designer. He had deep teeth in marketing, user experience, and business strategy. His true genius was the spine connecting them, his ability to synthesize these fields to create products with both incredible function and emotional resonance. The skills stack is your new mental map for career growth. It gives you permission to go deep in multiple areas, confident that they don't have to be isolated silos. It reframes your diverse interests not as distractions, but as future pillars of expertise. This model allows you to consciously build a unique combination of skills that nobody else has. Your goal isn't just to add skills, but to build a powerful, interconnected stack. This is how you move from being a generalist to a strategic polymath. But let's be honest, there's a danger here, and it's the one skeptics always point to. It's the risk of becoming a dabbler, a jack of all trades but a true master of none. How do you build the deep teeth for your comb without spending 10,000 hours on every single interest? This is a valid concern, and ignoring it is the fastest way to fail as a polymath. The solution lies in gaining depth strategically, not randomly. I use a system of 3 rules to ensure that breadth doesn't come at the expense of depth. The first rule is what I call the project-based deep dive. Instead of saying, "I'm going to learn how to code," which is vague and endless, you set a concrete project. I'm going to build a simple mobile app that tracks my daily reading habits. This project now becomes a container for your learning. It forces you to move past beginner tutorials and grapple with real-world problems. You don't learn everything about coding, you learn everything necessary to complete the project. This focused, outcome-driven approach is the fastest way to build a functional, deep skill. Years ago, I wanted to understand video production, so I committed to creating a short documentary about a local artist. That single project forced me to learn about lighting, audio, editing, and storytelling far more deeply than any course could have. The second rule is to leverage the 80-20 rule for skills. For nearly any skill, a small number of core concepts deliver the majority of the results. Research into expertise suggests that identifying and mastering this vital 20% is the key to rapid skill acquisition. Before you dive into a new skill, ask yourself, what are the fundamental principles here? In learning a language, it might be the 1,000 most common words and the core grammar rules. In cooking, it might be knife skills and heat management. Your goal is to achieve proficiency in that core 20%, to get to the point where the skill is useful before you chase the long tail of mastery. This prevents you from getting stuck in the beginner phase forever. The third and final rule is to maintain your pillars. While you're exploring new interests, you must consciously dedicate time to maintaining your 2 or 3 core skills. These are the foundational teeth of your comb, the skills that likely form the core of your career or identity. For me, that means I never stop writing and coding, even when I'm deep diving into a new subject like neuroscience. This could be just a few hours a week, but that consistency prevents your hard-won expertise from decaying. Your pillar skills are your anchors. They provide stability while you explore. They are the bedrock upon which you build the rest of your skill stack. So, to avoid mediocrity, you don't just learn more things, you learn them smarter. Use project-based deep dives to go deep. Apply the 80-20 rule to be efficient, and maintain your pillars to stay sharp. This strategy allows you to build a true comb-shaped profile, not a rake with 100 shallow, brittle teeth. This isn't about collecting hobbies. It's about strategically building an arsenal of deep, useful skills. This structured approach ensures you gain real depth alongside your impressive breadth. So now that we have the model to build our skills, how do we put it into practice? Having a stack of skills isn't enough. You need a system to weave them together to create unique value. That's where the next part of our system comes in. This system is called the Connect method. It's a 7-step framework designed to help you find and exploit the valuable overlaps between your skills. The first step, C, stands for core. This is about consciously identifying and labeling your 2 to 3 core pillar skills, the ones you just maintained. You can't connect the dots if you don't know where your main dots are. For example, my core skills are graphic design, creative writing, and marketing strategy. Next, O stands for overlaps. This is where you actively brainstorm the creative intersections between your core skills. Where does graphic design meet creative writing? Perhaps it's in creating compelling infographics or designing beautiful ebooks. The third step, N, is for novelty. This is about combining your skills in novel ways to create something unique that specialists can't. So a graphic designer who loves psychology finds an overlap in designing user interfaces that guide user behavior. This combination creates a powerful niche like persuasive design. The second N stands for network. You can use one skill to build a network that feeds opportunities to another. For instance, use your public speaking skills to give talks on web design, which in turn brings you freelance clients. Your network in one field becomes your distribution channel for another. Then we have E for experiment. Innovation rarely happens in a single leap. It comes from running small experiments at the intersection of your skills. Start a blog, launch a small weekend project, create a short video series combining 2 of your interests. These experiments are low-risk ways to test your novel ideas in the real world. The C stands for communicate. This is perhaps the most crucial and overlooked step for any polymath. You must learn to build a single, coherent narrative that weaves your diverse skill set into a compelling story. Instead of saying, "I'm a coder and I also like psychology," you say, "I use my understanding of human psychology to build more intuitive and user-friendly software." One is a list of hobbies, The other is a unique value proposition. Finally, T is for teach. The ultimate way to solidify the connections between your ideas is to try to teach them to someone else. Teaching forces you to simplify, clarify, and structure your unique blend of knowledge. Whether it's writing an article, making a video, or mentoring someone, teaching turns your implicit connections into explicit wisdom. That's the connect method: core, overlaps, novelty, network, experiment, communicate, and teach. It's your active process for turning a pile of skills into a portfolio of innovations. If you're the kind of person who loves frameworks that bring clarity to chaos, you'll feel right at home here. Consider subscribing to join a community of fellow polymaths. Now, as you look at this method, a skeptical part of your brain might be firing up. It's asking, is this just hindsight bias? Are we just finding success stories and then building a narrative around them after the fact? Is this a real strategy, or are we just getting fooled by randomness? This is the system, not serendipity principle, and it's the final piece of our polymath puzzle. The key distinction is between a process and a prize. Waiting for a lucky break, for your random skills to magically become useful one day, is waiting for a prize. It's a passive approach that relies entirely on chance. The connect method is not about waiting. It is a forward-looking process. You are not just hoping for connections to appear. You are systematically searching for them, experimenting with them, and building on them. Think of it this way. It's the difference between buying random lottery tickets and building a diversified investment portfolio. One is pure chance. The other is a deliberate strategy to increase your surface area for success. A lucky break is when a musician gets discovered randomly in a coffee shop. A systematic success is when that same musician, who also has a skill in data analysis, uses online trends to write a song that they know is likely to resonate, then uses their marketing knowledge to promote it effectively. The first is serendipity. The second is strategy. By actively applying the connect method, you are not eliminating luck, but you are creating more opportunities for luck to strike. You are engineering serendipity. This is an offensive strategy, not a defensive one. It's about making things happen, not waiting for them to happen to you. Okay, enough theory. Let's make this real for you right now. So you have the skill stack to map your profile and the connect method to find the gold within it. I want you to take out a piece of paper or open a new note on your computer. I'm serious. Do this with me. First, draw your comb. Draw a horizontal line and then draw 3 or 4 vertical teeth coming down from it. On top of each tooth, write one of your core skills. Don't overthink it. Just list the things you're good at and enjoy. It could be anything from financial modeling to growing vegetables. Now just look at those skills side by side. For the next 2 minutes, I want you to brainstorm just one idea based on the connect method. Look for one overlap between 2 of your skills. Think about one novelty idea, a weird combination that might just be brilliant. What is one crazy project you could start this weekend that would fuse 2 of these together? Maybe your skill in baking and chemistry could lead to a blog about the science of bread. Perhaps your knowledge of history and video editing could become a YouTube channel about forgotten stories. The goal here isn't to find $1 million idea. It's simply to activate the part of your brain that sees connections instead of categories. This simple exercise is your first step in moving from a passive generalist to an active polymath. Remember that feeling from the beginning of the video? That sense of being a master of none? I hope you now see that it was never about being a master of a single trade. The goal isn't to be a master of one trade, it's to be the master of connecting many. You now have the tools to do exactly that. With your skill stack as a map, you can visualize your unique intellectual landscape. And with the Connect method as your compass, you have a reliable way to navigate it. You are no longer just a generalist drifting in a sea of interests. You are an innovator, an architect of ideas, purposefully building on your diverse foundation. You have a strategy to pursue depth without sacrificing breadth, and a system to turn your knowledge into tangible opportunities. Ultimately, this isn't just about skills or career hacks. On a deeper level, it's about embracing your authentic nature in a world that constantly tries to file you down into a single shape. Specialists build walls, digging deeper and deeper into their own territory. Polymaths build bridges. Your purpose is not to fit into a box, it's to connect them. Never forget that your greatest value lies not within your skills, but between them. Let that sink in. If this idea of building bridges resonates with you, the subscribe button is there when you're ready. And if you're ready for the next step on this path, I've linked a video on how to develop the skill of learning itself. Thank you for spending your time here. See you in the next one.